I'd get these same cards. And I remember saying to my mom, like, this is weird. I feel like the messages that I'm getting, even in my head, are I remember when I think I was like 12 or 13 when I had my first tarot card deck. And
Oh,
because my mom
really?
did, yeah. And my mom's always done tarot cards. And I remember like she got me not these ones. They're the ones that have like the message or whatever on the bottom so I could read them easier, especially like
Oh,
the
they
ones I
told you
could
what it meant
tell.
right on the card?
Yeah, those
Oh, okay.
ones. So then I remember doing them. And at this point, like we lived in like our townhouse. We lived there for a really long time. The odds of us moving, I feel like was slim to none. I'm like, no, we're happy here. We're not moving. Like, this is fine. We don't need to move. Like nothing like that. And then I kept doing these cards. And I feel like I was automatically drawn to them naturally, which was kind of cool. And then I remember I'd get these same cards, and I remember saying to my mom, like, this is weird. I feel like the messages that I'm getting, even in my head, are we're moving. And I'm like, but we're not. And we were both confused by it. Be like, no, that like there's no way that we're moving, literally. And it was with a fast action card. So we were moving, and we were moving fast. And then literally within 2 weeks later, what happened was when I think I told you this when we were at it was in high school. Yeah, so it would have been 13 or 14, I think, at that point. And then we went into like the high school, and my dad was there, and he was acting like wild. Like he was not himself.
Huh.
So then so my mom and I were terrified. We went back home, and he started like trying to break into the house.
Oh, yeah.
So then at that point we were like, that was the moment my mom's like, no, we're moving for like our safety, like for like
Yeah.
our safety reason, to be like, no, he knows like where we are. We need to do like, and then all of a sudden she decided, but it's not like I influenced her in any
No.
way. It was just like all of a sudden all these like sequence happened, everything with my dad, like a bunch of crazy stuff happened there. And then she's like, you know what? We're moving. And then all of a sudden, like, it
Yeah,
was
that would
like
be a reason to
within like
move.
the month. I know, and I was like, that was like my first time ever with like tarot cards ever. And I always remember that. I'm like, that's wild
I was
because
going to
something
ask you that question. I'm glad you said the
yeah,
story.
yeah, because like something I never would have thought happened. Like this was like, no, the odds of us moving, no, there's no way. And
Yeah.
that was my first
Like there was no
interaction.
reason to move,
No, we were
really. And like even your
happy,
mom's
like
like, why would we move?
yeah, my what I call my dad, not my biological father, but Bill, he was part of my he lived down the road. I'm like, no, life's great. We don't need to move. But then all this happened, and like I feel like my mom, when I know like my mom, she is like she's like you, but in the sense of incredibly calm. Like
Mm,
she's very good in any circumstances, right?
yeah.
So when you know that like it's time, like when she's fearing like her safety, or like if she's afraid of like my safety,
Yeah.
I just always go with it because I'm like, I trust, and she's very intuitive too. So
Yeah.
if she says like, we got to move, then it's probably for a good reason.
It's like,
She's like
okay.
incredibly intuitive. She knows what she's talking about. Like it's wild.
Did you continue doing tarot after that? Or because I feel
No,
like there
I
was a
stopped
time
for
where,
a little bit.
was it after that when you stopped? Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
no, because for multiple reasons, because I had these messages in my head to say, you're moving, like then all these things. And I was like, we're saying all these things. And then I'm like, how can I hear that? Like, how can this be happening? And I'd hear repeatedly. And I didn't really think anything of it when I was doing it. It didn't stress me out. But then after I put two and two together, and I'm like, oh my God, I can hear everything that I heard happened. And it just like I paused on a really long time because of that. Because I
Did you
just
think,
remember that feeling of being like, oh my God, this is like I heard it. Like I remember feeling like that.
did you when you were hearing those things, did you just think it was your thoughts just putting things together, or were you
Yeah.
able to identify that it was something other than your thoughts?
No, it's something other than my thoughts, but I feel like it was weird because it was almost like in different like voices kind of. It was
Mm.
like it was something I knew it was externally, but I remember at the time like this I remember talking myself out of like this isn't like this is like just my thought, like this is
Yeah.
nothing. Like I remember trying to like, you know, just like ignore them, not thinking anything of it. Like I remember trying very hard not to associate anything with them, but they felt different than like my own like just like thinking. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
almost like someone planted them in my head kind of like,
And did
and where I
you
could hear them like through even to the point of like different like people like say like, oh, they're on the left, they're on the right, like telling me like it was I remember thinking
hmm,
that like so I remember, but I remember at the time like that's why it completely freaked me out because I'm like
yeah.
that's it, I need to step away because I know like I kind of put two and two together, everything that I was kind of going on in my head, like I like it unraveled, like everything that I thought it actually happened.
Like
So then
even the
it
part
freaked me out.
including your biological father, that was in there
Yeah.
too?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Everything.
Wow.
Everything like that, everything happened exactly the way like I didn't like the only thing I didn't know was it was him specifically, but I knew there'd be like a chain of events that would happen that would completely switch for us to move. And at the time I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna ignore it. Like there's no way that it's actually true. Like that was the time
Yeah.
I was testing it out too. Like
Yeah.
and oh, I remember the one time too, my mom was doing tarot cards and we're at the cottage. And in the middle
Yeah,
of the
I love
cottage,
this
like
story.
yeah, she's in the middle of the cottage, she's like, and she brought her tarot cards everywhere too. And she's like, we need to go home. In the middle, so like in the middle of the cottage, which means like, you know, like if she wants to go home, but like, you know, you're on vacation. Like
Yeah.
why should you go home? Like,
Yeah.
and she's like, we need to go home. At this point, I had my pet rat, and he was like my everything. My mom would let me get any other animal. Like, it's like he was like my everything. Within the day, he died.
Yeah,
And
that
it like and I remember thinking, I was like, oh my God. And she's like, I knew it. She's like, I like she knew that he was gonna die. And that was the like she knew that. And I remember thinking like she's like, we have to get home so that way you can just spend more time with him
mm,
to be with him so that way it wouldn't carry like as a burden on you that you left him. Like
yeah.
she said all that to me and I'm like, wow.
So you had a tarot deck and then you stopped after that. When
Mhm.
did you pick up another deck and what inspired you to do that?
You inspired me. Yeah, you did. Did you know that?
No, I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, like so I feel like you're part of this answering this question. I don't know why. Like I don't know. Like remember it was I was with you and then all of a sudden it's like I don't and then your mom gave us those cards
The
and then I
angel
started
cards,
practicing.
yeah.
Yeah, those so I remember you inspired me to pick it up again because I remember because honestly it was I think my more spiritual side I've always thought of as not as a negative thing, but I've always kept it quiet, even though it's
Hmm.
something that's part of me, kept it quiet because I feel like for a lot of people, it just seems weird. So I feel like my head, it was like, okay, well, that's a weird gift, right? Like it's a weird thing to be able to pick up on all these things. It was just all me internally. I feel like when I don't know, like you didn't judge me based off of like this other side. I'm like, yeah, I can't. Like when I'm reading the tarot cards, like even like this morning when I close my eyes, I can see images. Like I can see them. Even now, I can see like it looks like a puzzle piece. Like as I'm like, and the dot right here, like I have no idea what that means. And I feel like if I really focus on it, I could. But see, that's a side I'm still developing. But I feel like I've always thought that was like weird in the sense like I know other people aren't like that. I know when people close their eyes and they meditate, they see nothing. Like, and I've always wanted that. I remember thinking that's what I want. Like, and
Hmm.
then I feel like you gave me the courage to be like, no, it's okay. Like, you know, it's okay to be able to do that. Like, allow yourself to, and you've taught me incredible amount, because I feel like always I've been able to tell other people's, my mom's like this too, when I'm able to feel other people's like emotions and how they are. Like I can be driving the car and I could be like, guy behind me, he's going through a divorce right now. It's like I have no idea who that is. Like, or be in the grocery store and be like, I swear this person's going through this, like whatever it is. And it's like, or this person, she doesn't know it yet, but she might be pregnant. Like,
yeah, that's my favorite one.
I've done that a few times. Like, and it's just like, I don't know why. It's like this feeling that I get. And the thing with why I struggled so hard is I wasn't able to separate myself. So almost like I felt like I lost myself in the sense of like, I just felt like I became the other person when, like one of my best friends, like her like mom passed away. And I remember like the moment being up and like, I remember saying to Jake, I'm like, I am heartbroken right now. And he's like randomly, and Jake's like, why? I have no idea. I'm like, I am and I like looked around. I'm like, there's no one around me right now. I'm like, but I am heartbroken. Like to the point, like I was like, I don't even know what to do with myself. I want to break down into tears. That's how heartbroken I am. I went, like, by the time I got back from the walk, that's when I got the call that she passed away. And I'm like, that is it. Like I had no idea. The more I've been exploring, I feel like over this past year has been,
you've got quite the spiritual journey over the past year.
And I remember going, like I got a tarot or oracle card reading or whatever, remember, in like February or January, like a year ago today. And this is how much it's transformed. And she's like, you could do, like, you're incredibly intuitive. She's like, I almost see you. It's like, I almost see you like really developing yourself spiritually. And I remember at that point, not that I was like, I knew I've always been spiritual, but at that point it was the idea of tarot cards and oracle cards was not, it was something it made me nervous from my past experience of being able to be so clear and so accurate. It almost startled me for years. Like that's how much I was able to tell right away from the first time I read like tarot cards. So when she mentioned it, it almost, my first thought was no, like you're wrong kind of thing. But then naturally over the year, I'm like, I look back and I'm like, that's wild, because I've developed myself spiritually, not only to be able to be more comfortable picking up people, it's almost better because now I can separate myself better from like people, so then I can be able to help them more. So it's been true. It's been like quite the journey.
Thank you for joining us today. If you like more videos like this, make sure you hit that like button, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe.